that he deserves an opportunity to play.
Well, the thing you can't lose sight of, though, Rudy, is Baltimore was interested in him for a while, and you had John Harbaugh there, but his girlfriend opened her big mouth and buried him there. And in Seattle, I think they were kicking the tires on it because they needed a capable backup for Russell Wilson. So, and of course, the Miami Dolphins, you never know what can happen with Stephen Ross, whether they need a good backup or whether he can actually play. I'm actually happy for the Dolphins that they didn't tank and go 0-16 at all, because at least you can cash in on a lot of those draft choices that you're accumulating anyways, and maybe that quarterback comes somewhere along the line. I guess if there's one guy I feel bad for is Josh Rosen, because he's been in the league 2 years and hasn't got what I consider a real chance, or maybe he wasn't as good. We'll see how that situation plays out down the road. So, yeah, the problem with Colin Kaepernick is he knew this going in, that this could be a bad career move, but he rolled the dice and he lost. And as a result, by rolling the dice and losing like he did, he really paid the reputational price is what he really did do, Rudy. But, we'll see. I think there's enough bad quarterback play in the league where there's room for the guy. But the question is it's all mental. Are you going to be disruptive? Are you going to be the highest paid distraction? Are you here to play football? And I think that's where a lot of these individuals are going to try to pinpoint where it's at. You don't need the backup quarterback, Rudy, overshadowing off the field what the primary guy is going to do. You don't need it. You saw what happened with Adrian Peterson, where the Minnesota Vikings, even though not a quarterback, when he had all those domestic incidents with his kid, an organization has to sell to sponsors and the monetary component of the whole thing.
Yeah.
And there's more to it than meets the eye. But if Colin Kaepernick is willing to play football, minimize the distractions, you see what kind of talent that he has left, maybe his career is salvageable. But, yeah, it's definitely a TBD for sure. But I'm glad you brought it up, RudeDog.
Well, the interesting aspects to this is, what does he show them? Is it enough to get him back into the NFL? Right now, there are a lot of, again, we're talking about first-round picks, and that's why this conversation started, is because a lot of first-round guys have not been exceeding the expectations of the teams that they're currently on. Why not go after a guy? So he hasn't played in the NFL in the last 2 seasons. That doesn't mean he's not NFL ready, but real-time game reps, real-time situations, third and longs, second and longs, situational offense is something that he's not ready for. But the bigger question is whether or not he'll get that opportunity to find himself in the league and being given an opportunity. That remains to be seen. And also, let's think about this, in a post-Kaepernick world, if he gets back into the NFL, let's say, is he going to continue kneeling? Is he going to continue to support the cause that started this whole thing to begin with?
Oh, yeah. And you're right, Rudy.
And furthermore, I felt that it was the wrong way to go about it to begin with. When I seen this on TV, 49ers were at home, and I seen him kneeling, I thought to myself, what is he doing? What he has almost, like a 500,000 followers or something like that on Instagram. It's the same one. And those that are fighting for change and equality. I just watched a movie about Harriet Tubman the other day, and I thought to myself, wow, I think this is what Colin Kaepernick's trying to say. I think the entire issue is blown out of proportion. However, it's blown out of proportion because of the stage that he did it on. He could have easily taken his kneeling to a different level. He could have taken it to the streets. People like Martin Luther King took it to the streets. Muhammad Ali was jailed for his beliefs and his thoughts and what he was trying to change in the societal system. So Colin Kaepernick could have done the very same thing. He didn't. He wanted to choose the biggest stage and the forum that he knew was going to make the biggest impact, and that was the NFL. And that's one of the reasons why he was blackballed out of the NFL to begin with.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. Again, there's different ways to protest. That's just not one of them. Again, because all of a sudden I understand your message, but this is not the place on a football field. It really isn't. That's why I'm not a real big fan of LeBron James. I would never be, but that'll be for another story. But, yeah, in the NFL, you're basically playing on one-year contracts, some of the guys that have larger commitments, but your career can end with one injury. And Colin Kaepernick, in my opinion, Rudy overplayed his hand. He really did, and he knows he did. And, again, is he going to continue to be kneeling? Is he a bigger distraction? Is he more trouble than he's worth? do his representatives understand that? Is the NFL looking to say, is it a PR stunt? I don't know if I go there, but you got to find. But you want to talk about a guy who will be under such a microscope. This guy is definitely at, and to me, he overplayed his hand. He gambled and he lost, at least on the football field. He really, really did. You don't divide the shield. You don't do it. No, whether you call baseball the great American pastime or the NFL, whatever you want to call it, the most popular sport in the sports world, don't try to draw too much publicity to yourself. Let your play go ahead and take priority. Of course, nowadays, this is a different generation, Rudy, that probably more of these guys make more money in endorsements than they do with their actual paycheck, but that's not the point. Don't show up the shield. If you show up the shield, they'll run you right out of there. Did you ever think you'd ever see a year where Antonio Brown would run himself literally out of the league by making an idiot out of himself with the Raiders? And then, full well that the Patriots were going to put up with his antics. Didn't take him long to get bolted out of there. And this guy just can't put down the telephone and doesn't figure it out.
Well, you got to know when to say when, though. You have to know when to say when. Did Antonio Brown do it?
Right.
No. Did OBJ do it? Yes, but he's still playing in the NFL. You have to know when to say when. You can't sit there and tell the NFL to F you and all of a sudden expect for them to open up, roll out the red carpet and give you a Mai Tai and say everything's forgiven, it's all forgiven. Doesn't work that way. Guys like Antonio Brown and the narcissistic behavior, attitude, and demeanor and everything else associated with who he is, he needs some serious help, bottom line. Whether or not he gets it, whether or not he's admitted to himself that there's a problem or an issue. Thank you, everybody, for chiming in. This is Rudy Reyes at Take No Punches. Man RudeDog Scott Morganroth joins me. Go follow at Tribune South. That's South Florida Tribune. Scott Morganroth joins me here. We're going to talk for a little bit longer, not much. But I think overall, when you look at the situation with Colin Kaepernick, is it a big PR stunt? Some people say yes. Some people say no. I don't think it is. I think this is legitimate to a certain degree.
Right.
And, of course, the saga continues with the NFL saying, well, it turns into he said between Kaepernick, his agents, or personnel, and of course the NFL doesn't want to release the schedule or time frame or whatever. I think it's just a big muck. I don't think this is hype necessarily. I think he's going to show up, he's going to be there, and he's going to be that guy that the Steelers need. He's going to be the guy that teams like the Steelers need, which is what? A backup quarterback. Steelers do have Delvin Hodges, who's proven to be serviceable. And, of course, when Patrick Mahomes was out for the Kansas City Chiefs earlier in Week 7, Matt Moore's proved serviceable. So there are teams that need a guy like Colin Kaepernick. Will he get an opportunity? That remains to be seen. But I do like where this is headed. I'd like to see Colin get an opportunity to do it. But my bigger question is whether he continues to be a distraction by kneeling on an NFL field near you.
Oh, no doubt about it, Rudy. No doubt about it. You and I can sit here and talk about this subject, and if we talk about it so long, you'll miss your flight. But the reality is Kaepernick a flight risk to be a problem? And the question is, I'm divided on this. Do I think it's a PR stunt? I'm kind of halfway in between on it. I'm not sure. I do know that there are a lot of desperate teams that need quarterbacks for sure, and I don't see him going to the XFL. Either he's going to go ahead and be in the NFL, or I don't think that I don't see him in the XFL. It's either the NFL or bust, basically, as far as I'm concerned. Why would he want to play in the XFL?
The XFL, because he'll have an opportunity to create film. Real-time, real-game film. Why would you not want that? There's so many players who do, though.
Yeah, but I agree with you on the game film. I really do. But somehow, some way, it's just a gut feeling, Rudy. So take it for whatever it's worth, okay? I don't see him in the XFL, although I've been wrong before, Rudy. I'm not afraid to admit it. I don't care 9 million people listening to it or 9,000. Doesn't matter. You follow me? I think that he does get an opportunity in the NFL. I don't see the XFL, as a backup quarterback. And he's auditioning for 2020 is really what he's done. He is auditioning. His numbers weren't that bad when he ended up leaving. I think he had just a handful of interceptions and a lot of completions. But, again, he was more trouble than he was worth is really what it comes down to.
Well, again, it's cutting your nose to spite your face. Whether or not it continues to be the case with guys like Colin Kaepernick who continue to find a way to get into the NFL, and what professional athlete doesn't want to find a way to get into the NFL? I mean, Colin was already in it, so it's not as if he doesn't have a clue how the system works. But from a business standpoint, I don't know that he was aware of it. I don't know that he believed that kneeling was going to cause as much of an uproar as it actually did. I think more importantly, when you look at guys like Colin Kaepernick who want to make those types of statements, Eric Reed said in Carolina locker room just the other day that Colin's going to be there, he's going to perform, and he believes that this is legit. There are a lot of people out there who says that it's not legit, that it's just a PR stunt. People all over the broadcast medium, and there's too many names to mention. However, I think overall, when you look at Colin Kaepernick, will his body of work prove to be the guy that can get to the next level in the NFL? And will that kneeling continue to be the case or be an issue for an NFL team headed into the latter part of 2019, maybe even 2020? So is this a trial for 2020? Absolutely. Will it come to fruition? I believe it will, but that remains to be seen. This is Rudy Reyes, Motorman and RudeDog. This will be posted on the RudeDogShow.com. Go to Tribune South. Go to SouthFloridaTribune.com. It'll be loaded there as well. Share, like, involve, engage, ask questions, give us your thoughts. Scott, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you coming back onto the show and finding time in the early morning to do it.
Yeah, well, it's my pleasure. And just, folks, Rudy Reyes will have a bio on the South Florida Tribune. You'll find it at www.southfloridatribune.com. I'm waiting for the old Dapper Dan look here when he sends me the photo that he wants to do. And the one hashtag I'm thinking we might be using for this program will be desperate, because I'll tell you what, Rudy, though it has to be a desperate team that certainly needs Kaepernick, but we'll see what happens. But I'm glad that we were able to talk about some interesting subjects. So before we get off the program, how can we leave it without a prediction tonight, Rudy? Give me a score.
Gosh, as long as Juju needs to fight off defenders first and foremost. Route running is good. Fighting off defenders is another, and I think that's one of the reasons why he hasn't been as productive. And of course, when Antonio Brown was on the field, that kind of route running and you're always doubling Antonio Brown. Juju was open in the slot. I think Juju needs to fight off defenders. And Mason just needs to continue doing what Mason Rudolph has been doing to get these Steelers to a four-game win streak, hopefully make it 5 in Cleveland. But I think that Steelers will end up winning this one 27-24 Steelers in Cleveland.
Yeah, I don't have it that close, Rudy. I like Steelers 27-14.
Well, that's good.
I think. I do. That's good. It's just a gut feeling. I'm not sold on Cleveland, and they'll come down to earth next year when they don't have nearly as many national TV appearances, so we can have some real teams on there, not a one-year wonder. Yeah,
well, nobody wants to make you wonder. Everybody wants action and not words. This is Rudy Reyes. Scott, thanks for coming back on. Again, this podcast will be posted everywhere. It'll be on at Tribune South. This will be posted on at Take No Punches, Motorman, RudeDog, Scott Morgan. Scott, thanks a lot. We'll definitely be in touch. And the Steelers will get this W tonight. And until then, thanks everybody for tuning in. This is Rudy Reyes and Scott Morganroth.
My pleasure, Rudy. I enjoy doing this every week, and it's a blast. We'll keep it going, buddy.
Cool,
Good
man.
Stuff, man. Everybody bring it all to the table. Go Steelers tonight. Humble the Browns. Okay.
I think it'll happen. Thanks a lot. Take care. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
You bet. Take care, folks. See you next week.